Hello and welcome to the Business Aviation Collective podcast. Today we get a chance to talk to Jackie Gates. She is with Group Holdings Aviation, and she has a great story to tell us about learning how to do international handling in-house. Enjoy! This podcast is produced by Business Aviation Collective and sponsored by LD Aviation. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Business Aviation Collective podcast. Today, we get to talk to Jackie Gates. Jackie Gates is the corporate dispatcher for Group Holdings Aviation based in FTW. Before working with Group Holdings Aviation was with American Aero FBO. So she has a good bit of aviation background going on for her. Jackie, thank you so much for taking your time to talk with us. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Great. Wonderful. Well, I'm always interested, and this is one of the first questions I ask almost everybody is, how did you get into aviation? Like, was there a childhood dream of this? Did you fall into it? How did you get here?
A totally grace of God. Did not know what an FBO was even before I set foot in the FBO. Family friend who was the security for the owner said, "Hey, he's opening up an FBO. You seem like you would be a good role as a customer service rep." And I had just graduated college, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I thought, okay, well, customer service, I can do that. I waited tables, did a little bit of teaching. So started. We were in a temporary facility. I had to look up on Google that day, what is a fixed base operator?
Yep.
So totally new world for me, taking pictures the whole time. What is that? Oh, that plane. Did not know besides, commercial flight. Growing up a couple, but a whole new world for me.
Wow.
Worked at the FBO for about a year, became a manager, customer service manager, but had the opportunity to fill in for the FBO's flight department, privately owned, private.
Okay.
And
like their owned aircraft that they were flying.
Yeah.
Okay.
The owner's aircraft.
Got it.
He basically wanted the FBO, so he could, And if you ever have been out to Fort Worth, he bought an Atlantic that was operating out of the First American Airlines, which was American Airways hangar. It was one of two. So the hangar that I operate out of was built in 1933. It's got some really neat history out of it. The first Charles Lindbergh landed here, Amelia Earhart.
Wow.
So I've got some good grounds, here. But scheduler here that I was filling in for retired, and she said, "You're a good fit. My flight department is very active. Sometimes we go a long time without flying, but they're very involved in the industry. We've got a couple Gulfstreams. My boss its own cab as often as he can.
Nice.
I get to see that world, of the OEM. And I call my boss the airplane whisperer, our aviation director. So I get to be involved in a lot of that. Since I'm also the receptionist here, I take a lot of notes for meetings. So I learn a lot just, by happenstance.
That's awesome. So I find that it's actually really common that a lot of us come into this industry without any previous aviation background. We really just fell into it. So I find it super interesting when people fall into it and then they stay and oftentimes are almost hooked, and they really can't leave because they don't want to go to any other industry.
No, how could anything be more exciting,
Right?
You've got the conferences and just the things you see and the people and the doors it's opened up for me. I work for a very good company. I've got a very good boss. SMS is a big thing here. I mean, we're in boss stage 3. So we have, I came into a really good foundation
Wonderful.
For aviation or business aviation.
That's great. Also, I want to talk to you about how you got into doing international handling on your own. But before I get there, I have a couple other questions on that. I'm kind of curious is there maybe a defining moment or anything that stands out in your maybe younger life that has helped you out in your career now?
Being flexible, I think. I think that's why I am where I am today, and the roles I got through the company, and even just taking the job, being flexible and open, and never taking no. Nobody has to hear no in this industry, so you got to not have that mindset. And I think from an ownership standpoint, we work with some people that they just have a lot of networking, and that's how they think. They've got a lot of resources, and just seeing our principals. It's not that they don't take no for an answer, but it's just there's no nothing to box you in. They think outside the box, and so I think that's something I've really learned in aviation is just I've always been a problem solver, but there's a workaround. There's always a workaround.
There is, and that's kind of what we're paid for, right? We are in this position to find a yes or a close to yes. Yeah, without being unsafe. I guess I will add that as well.
The law,
right? Yes. Yeah. Legal. Very cool. Right. So I believe you are the sole scheduler as well. How do you manage all of that as well as, your downtime and, now working 24/7?
I've got a good operation. We know each other well. I've been here with Group Holdings for 7 years now. Although the schedule has changed, we've gone through, 300 hours in a year to COVID, which was like 100 hours. Now we're back up to about 200 hours per airplane a year. Just again, being flexible. And luckily my family, I've got two little ones, toddlers, and my husband, just working when I can, and sometimes 4 hours a day, my work, and then sometimes it's 10 hours a day. And luckily both my family life and my work life, both of them understand that, and it's a give and take, it's a good balance.
That's awesome. Yep. Very important in this industry, but since we are all 24/7.
I don't have another person here with me, like you said, but the FBO, I've got a couple girls that are trained enough to fill in and answer the calls.
Okay.
They can open up the trip planning and help me out too. So
that's great. So at least you have somebody that you can rely on here and there. That's cool. That's great. Okay, so let's get into international trip handling. Obviously, you seem to be like a big go-getter. You're out to just learn about everything. I mean, you talked about ISBO, you talked about SMS. How did you even think about, attempt, etc., to do in-house international?
I think it's always been something I wanted to do. Before I started working, when I would fill in our operation, traveled a lot. They went to Paris a lot, London, and it was like as soon as I got here, no, they didn't do anything international. The schedule before, she had always used Universal, or I think back in we were using Jeppesen, which was nice. But I hated. I was always scared, that feeling whenever I did get to do a trip. We did 1 or 2 a year. It wasn't that familiar. And then I was having to rely on people that knew more than me, but maybe because they knew more than me, I didn't get the answers that I felt like I wanted. It was like, okay, explain. I don't know what that means. We're taking care of it, But, and in our department, it's like everybody wants to know details, not just, taking care of. It's like, no, I need to know the name. I need to know, who's meeting the aircraft. Where are we going to park? Can we park up close?
Yep.
And I don't know if I told you, the last trip to London, I wasn't here the day that we picked the airport. My boss said, we're going to Luton. And I'm using the international trip planning provider. Yeah. Provider. And they said, okay, we got you, Okay, it's all good to go. We did it. It's a 2-week-long trip. It was great. I was a flight attendant for the flight. So that was fun. Seeing what I could do in the air. We've had a good connectivity on the aircraft. To be able to say who's on the ground right now, who's going to meet us. We're 45 minutes out. So that was fun. But a month later after we got home, we get this huge bill it was at $200 an hour.
Yeah.
And living. So it was like $60,000 just to park.
Yeah.
We have the aircraft. We know what it costs. We're not cheap, but we want to be reasonable and good stewards of our, principals' money, and we're not frivolous. So,
Yep.
That was something I just felt blindsided by. And I felt like, hey, if I had done that, I would have known that. That would have been a question I asked. That's what I do with the domestic flight. So it was like, well, I can speak the language. I know there's a time difference, but that doesn't matter. I can work whatever hours I want to do this. Why can I not do this? And with the international, what we call it, tripplanning.biz.
The scheduling software.
I was really pushing it. You can do it. You can do it. So I think that gave me some motivation. Okay, if he says I can do it, and I think I can do it.
Right. He is a really good promoter.
Collision dispatchers, and I watched you speak, I think in 2021. And then we finally I built that up recently, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask her. I'm going to reach out. How far did you,
How did it go?
Yeah, great. Perfect. And if I had to pull it up, the pilot, one of the PIC, he wrote me a long letter. Like, thank you so much. It went smooth. It went perfect, and maybe it would have gone great with the support provider, but the fact that we were able to do it in-house, we made connections with our local customs agent. It was just a great experience for everybody. Everybody, I think, was very confident in the trip itself, in the landing. Okay, we know who's going to be there. I know because I set it up. I spoke with these people. It's not that the support is bad. It's just that middleman,
And those relationships, I think that you highlighted, like you said, that you made a direct relationship, or you went and spoke with your local CBP officer. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, and I had to look up kind of the FBO. Where are my people going? It's like there was more put into it, I think, on the personal level for our passengers and for the pilots and the aircraft.
I think that's really good to note as well. And I think that happens a lot because now your CBP or wherever it is that you're going to, your handler knows, oh, it's Jackie that's calling. Jackie is with tail number blah, blah, blah. She's super nice on her emails. Or I know that they need newspapers and ice every single time they leave before 10 a.m. I don't know. They start to recognize, and then you get a higher level of customer service.
You do.
Yeah. Yep. That's so great.
I get it, I get it. People like that connection.
So that's really cool how you could tie that FBO and handler and now your dispatch side of the job to it. That's cool. So are there any tools that you would recommend either just for international handling or just scheduling in general that you just love that are working well for you guys?
And I, really love tripplanning.biz, moving from BOSS, which was not web-based, to a web-based program. And I use my iPad a lot. Light, handy. It works with tripplanning.biz. My pilots work with their iPads a lot too. So the interface is the same. If they're having issues, I can kind of, help them. I've got my app. Here's where to find that. I really like that tripplanning.biz does the messaging, keeps that in the system, the communications with the FBO, the communications with the caterer. I really try to train my pilot, get in there, see the communication, and obviously I put all the pertinent notes in there that they can see, but they you can open them up. Because a lot of times, what's this, what that, how did you get that? Here, it's all there. And I think keeping that for records or for a good go-to is very helpful.
Sure. And then you can see previous trips if you ever need to go back to maybe an international trip. Well, what did they say last time for pricing or catering?
Yep, exactly. And I like the look through the contact. I type in a last name of a passenger. I can see every trip they've been on. I really find it to be useful. And
excellent.
I think Samant said he's going to have a his first training upcoming. So it'll be exciting to see how other schedulers use it. I'm sure there's tons of stuff that I don't even know.
I believe there is one coming in the spring, I think sometime. I do remember him saying something like that. So we'll have to reach out to him and see if we can't get those dates.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Just for additional information. So anybody who might be looking at tripplanning.biz, what Jackie's talking about is that they have like a Slack kind of messaging system, almost like a Teams chat messaging system right inside the software. Not that we're plugging just that software, but I just wanted to kind of talk more about how that is really helpful for getting away from emails, because as we move forward in technology, we're going to have to start getting away from all of these different emails that we have and use some other ways of communication. And
I also find it really good for secure payments, because I've got my cards on there. I've got my credit card and to the airplane app card. I've actually got a lot of cards on there now. And that's a secure form of payment, since it is through the Salesforce. It's very protected, and I'm not shooting my credit card over in an email or calling somebody and they're writing it down. I know SSI, super secure information, I forget what it's called, is a big thing now. Nobody wants their information stolen, especially on a corporate card.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Do you have, I don't know, any suggestions of what should somebody do if they're in maybe your spot a year ago and they're like, I want to try this out, but I don't really know where to get started?
Want to try international trip planning?
Yeah, doing international trip planning in-house. Mm-hmm.
I will call you guys. I mean, I'm not trying to plug L&D, but I wouldn't know where to go. I don't think, I don't know if there's another company out there that trains on actually international trip planning. I mean, I took my dispatcher's class, and I mean, I know how, they teach you kind of how to, right? You get a note, but if nobody's telling you how to contact Customs and Border Patrol, besides maybe some classes at schedulers and dispatchers.
Sure.
Maybe there's something I don't know out there. I'm not saying there's nothing out there. But as far as training for our industry schedulers and dispatchers like us, I think it's hard to find.
I think so too. Right. And you're right. We are definitely trying to change that. I know Suman we are as well. We're trying to get the word out and everything, but you're not trying to shamelessly plug us either.
No.
But I just get so excited when people learn and branch out. It just makes us as schedulers and dispatchers even more valuable to our team as well. So, okay, so I want to circle back. You said that you were flight attendant on the last London trip. So do you get to do that a lot?
As needed.
Well, that's fun.
We have a very private group of passengers, and most of them are used to flying on the aircraft. It's like their, second home. They take long trips cross country with their family. A lot of them have kids, so it's like, I think they're very private. They don't require much. So the opportunity doesn't come up often, but if we do have guests, especially like a large group that are not familiar with the aircraft, my boss prefers that somebody be there just for, safety. And to show people around the aircraft. I mean, it's a hard, some of those systems are so hard to operate.
Right? Yes.
So
trying to get the Wi-Fi to work.
I've done a lot of the same trips, Fort Worth to Salt Lake, a very easy trip. But that one to London was definitely an eye-opener. But altogether, it's what an opportunity to actually schedule the trip and then land and see the people that you're talking to, and on the other end of the phone. I think sometimes it's like, hey, I'm Jackie. And they're like, oh, both. It's neat to actually see what the pilots go through. The other day we pulled up in Salt Lake for an easy trip, but we had somebody on crutches, and they put us. There were snowbanks on the tarmac or the ramp where they were pulling us up, and it was like, I would have not understood my pilot, when they came back and wouldn't have guessed that there would have been big snowbanks on the ramp, and the parking was really difficult that day. And just to see, the issues that can come about, why not our delays? Says you guys landed, but you didn't turn off the, engines until 30 minutes later. And when your scheduler is sitting there, what's going wrong? Those ins and outs and ons and offs. And so to be there in the moment, it's like, okay, I see what's happening on the other end.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, that's really important. I know some companies have, when you get to go as flight attendant, some companies will allow their schedulers, dispatchers to do ride-alongs. And I think that's super important. I think the airlines, or at least they used to, require their dispatchers to do ride-alongs once every year or two, just to do exactly that, to get the lay of the land. What is the pilot actually seeing, when they receive their trip packet? How are they using that? How are they talking to the FBO when they get there? Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
For customs, I had no clue what customs was like in the UK. What happened, because I make these packets, and do they get used? What does the customs agent think of that? So that was that.
And I bet that helps you too, when you're scheduling the international ones, to know what to ask for locations you haven't been to. Like you were talking about before, where you asked, who's going to be meeting us, or where do we park? Those types of questions are important.
The one we went through, and I tell you, I learned this in Mexico. There's an FBO and a handler. Like, we don't have that most, American destination. So,
yeah, just that itself is a learning curve for international stuff. No, very cool. How about looking forward to the future? Is there like a goal or something that is on your horizon that you're hoping to do? Either personal or work. It could be either way.
I want to start giving back more. Before I had kids, and married and had kids, when I was a manager, customer service manager, I got to do a lot more. The challenge air events, the networking, doing things with the networking group. We've got North Texas Business Aviation Association out here, and they meet probably at least 2 times a month. A lot of it's after hours. And having the 2 toddlers, it's been hard, but I always knew once that part of my life got easier for somebody to watch the kids. I want to get back into that. I enjoy networking. I enjoy the volunteering, especially on the weekends. We've got a Greatest Generation out here. They have a DC-3, and they do like Christmas lights, and Father's Day flights, and I think beer flight.
Okay. Yeah.
So get back into that. I did it before. I loved it. Just haven't been able to do it as much. I would love to do some schedulers and dispatchers, sit on that board, that committee, or the ambassadors. So I want to get back in more.
Yeah. I mean, we all, of course, love our kiddos, but things do get busier when you got little ones, especially the little ones.
And just having a baby. I had the baby in COVID, and which really was beneficial. But I'm looking forward to getting
back out there.
Yeah.
So now that Northern Texas Business Aviation Association, they're like a regional kind of group, or are they a scheduler group?
They are a regional aviation group.
Okay, so all pilots, maintenance, everything. Okay, that's cool. That's very cool. So if anybody's in the area and listening, check out their website too, and see if you perhaps want to join that as well. It's always good to be part of your local business aviation group.
And they give back so much. They're constantly giving to the community here. So it's a good group.
Oh, nice. And I'm going to look some more up into that DC-3. That sounds fun.
If you're ever in the area, it's really neat.
That's really cool.
Love to see the old avionics. I totally different to be in an old airplane. The turbulence. They've got barf bag everywhere. And you get that sideways movement that I have never been a part of. But okay, this is new.
Yep. Oh, that's cool.
For altitude. So.
And loud, right? They're a lot louder.
Loud, yeah.
Yeah. I got to fly one in the islands off of Venezuela many years ago, but that was a really cool experience. So there's not a lot of them left that do flights. So very cool. Well, Jackie, I think I really hope that your story is, inspirational to others so that they really just go ahead and take the bull by the horns and try and do some of this international on their own. Is there a way, if people wanted to ask you questions about how you did it and stuff, is there a way they can contact you?
Yeah, of course. Please contact me by email.
Okay.
jgate@ghaviation.com. golfhotelaviation.com.
Wonderful. Okay. Sounds good. Well, for all of you guys that were listening, definitely reach out to Jackie if you have any questions about this. And Jackie, thank you so much for your help today and speaking with us. It was really great. And we hope to hear more about your international flight coordination here coming in the future.
Thank you, Lindsay. L&D was great. I hope
Thank you.
Next international trip. Maybe I can do it all by myself. But if I have any questions, I'll give you guys a call.
Definitely. I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah. Great. Thanks again, Jackie. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Lindsay. Have a great day.
You too. This podcast is produced by Business Aviation Collective and brought to you by LD Aviation.